Buddy, we're going to go and have a look around the Dufour 41. Before we step on, I like the new styling of the Dufours. For a 41-foot boat, she is very, very big. As you know, which is normal for us, the stats will come across the screen as we go around the boat. This one has actually been set up really, really nicely. The owners have gone for the option, you'll see when we get on board, for the infurling main. You can have this with slab reefing if you wish. Both port and starboard, you have access to the yacht here. And they actually optioned it, it's really nice, optioned it out with teak deck. You can obviously have flexi teak if you wish. All right, I'm going to come forward straight away. They have the granny bonnet up, which is nice, all brand new. There is actually plenty of room to get alongside, to go alongside. We'll see what it's like getting into the cockpit with it afterwards, but it's a nice strong structure. You've got good handholds, and then that leads directly to a handhold on the spray hood and down then onto the coach roof, which runs about half the way forward, which is pretty nice. This one has been set up with a Genoa. It does have a self-tacking jib if needed. Anyway, coming forward, as you can see, there's small tracks. It might be better set with a Yankee or 110% Genoa, whatever. I'll have to find out how they've set it. The blue sheets, as you can see, are for your German mainsail system. There is a sneaky cheeky way, if you want more performance. Where the Dyneema has been set up, you can actually set it up on blocks if you want to, that then run back to the cockpit to give you a little bit more control, whether it's really needed or not. So in mast furling, as you can see, your sheets and halyards and so on come underneath. There's a deck management system, and then they run through and into your cockpit there. Something I haven't mentioned on these before, which is I think a positive with Dufour over hands, is their spray hoods. They're actually much larger, so you're not constantly, if any of you have been on the smaller hands, you're always banging your head on them. Outboard shrouds, very nice wide side decks, and there is that self-tacker, as you can see. And then coming forward, once again, there's skylights for that master cabin and flush hatches. Very, very nice. And there is non-slip on the larger hatches. So forward, you have a Lumar anchor windlass and your electric feet control, push button control there, and then your anchor barrel roller. And forward, there is a point for your code D, code 0 Jenica, whatever you wish, and your speed furler. I love these, absolutely love them. Before give you a look aft, it's your hatch into your master cabin, and then forward, I don't know if you can see it, but just behind the padding for the headrest, that's your access into the anchor locker and so on there. It's the one thing I didn't point out on the 37, so I apologise for that, but it's the same setup. I'm going to give you a look aft, because she's a really beamy boat. A very nice profile. And there is your two spreader in mast furling mast. Alright, come down the starboard side quickly. It's very easy to walk round, very easy to get through. This is what I wanted to see, how easy it is to get into the cockpit with both your granny's bonnet and what they call the skipper protection up above. Because with a lot of boats, it's actually really difficult. You've got to climb through all this silly framework. But they've set it up very, very nicely. It's very easy to get out onto the deck and just go straight forward. So good job with that. Before we go and have a look at the transom, I'll show you how easy it is on the port side to handle the lines down. I'm doing this one-handed, dropping it and picking up. Very, very easy, and there's a really nice handy step to go down. Right, aft, as you can see, that bathing platform now, half transom. It's a good size. You have your bathing ladder over there, and there is space for your life raft. As we've said before, these can be optioned out really nicely with a grill and a sink forward. And there's that step that drops down. Very, very nice. I'm going to start on the starboard side. Over here you have your throttle controls, and underneath the locker there's your... actually, I'll lift this up. You guys want a proper view, don't you? So you have hot and cold water underneath the starboard seat, and then under here is your freshwater shower when you're on the transom. Diesel fill, which I think is brilliant. There's more and more yacht manufacturers are doing this, so it's a lot easier just to bring your diesel pipe around here and fill up, instead of, as we're all in the habit of doing, you know, doing one side or having to take it across your cockpit or over the boat and getting those diesely, oily things all over the place. Dufour have put it aft, you know, carbon Nautica wheels underneath. You have your throttle controls down here, and then your bow stern thrusters at your side. You know, we've talked about this before, to allow you to moor alongside really, really easily. This one, the owner obviously... Okay, B&G Zeus chart plotter and autopilot. Have your anchor electric controls here, up and down, and there is actually a windlass chain counter there. Just forward of me you have a Lumar 45 self-tailing electric winch. It is possible to, sorry, this one's manual, but it is possible to have it electric if you wish. There's your bank of clutches. I'd actually, if it was possible, have a second winch in here, but that's me, it's just my choice. Two lazarettes, starboard and port side. So plenty of room, mooring lines, buckets, you know, whatever you want to put in there. If it's your boat, you'll do what you want with it. That's mirrored on the port side. Port helm is pretty much the same. I'm not going to take it off and give you a view of the cockpit. It's a nice size. It's a good size. Nice grab handle forward. And then you have a cool box. And somewhere for your drinks. Another storage area underneath, which is very handy. I can tell you from doing test sails, really, really handy. Somewhere nice to put your sandwiches. And we'll fold out one of the leaves of the table. So you imagine you got the other side out. There's dining for 6 easily here in the cockpit. Before we forget, the aft cockpit seat, so centrally within the cockpit, this one's been optioned out. It's a reasonably priced option, so if you don't need the storage space, for me, I would take the grill and the sink. It's very American, that. Grill, barbecue, but, you know, why not? Somewhere nice to cook fish or a few steaks when you're out on anchor. And then coming forward, you have your Lumar 45 self-tailing electric winch. This one's actually been set up electrically, which is really, really nice. A bank of clutches, both port and starboard. Something this owner's done quite nicely, so instead of having bags for your tail ends down here, they've actually set it up on deck to keep them out of the way. And you'll see, which I missed, behind the helms there, you have somewhere for your tail ends too. Really, really nice. Folding washboards either side, and then there's 5 easy steps down the companionway. Once again, very deep in the boat to give you that one level living and give you a look around the saloon and then to the longitude galley. So what we're going to do is start on the starboard side. Before we get into the cabin, we'll do the heads. This has actually been set up with a manual saltwater flush. It's no big deal. You can option it out for electric if you wish, and then obviously you have your sink, storage behind the mirror. It's obviously the same here, and your separate taps are hot and cold taps for your shower head. So this is a wet head. There's ventilation up above in the window. It's a good size for a 41-foot boat. It's a good size, And then directly aft you have a large double, and it is a large double. It's a really nice size cabin. Big port light windows in the hull, and then you have a ventilation into the cockpit, and this can be optioned out. Instead of just having it as a window, this can be optioned out as an opening hatch, and you have an opening hatch up above. And obviously there are, I can't think it seems to work, mosquito nets and privacy blinds. There is some handy shelving on the hull side, and then obviously access to mechanical departments in here. You'll notice I haven't opened any of the engine areas on these Dufours. They're all locked off because of the amount of public. So then over onto the port side, pretty much this mirrors exactly the starboard cabin. One thing I will show you in here, which I didn't show you in the starboard one, is the amount of headroom. I don't know if you can actually see me, but sort of in the area where you're going to stand up or get dressed or climb into bed, there's actually loads and loads of room. It's only when you get into the lazarettes for the cockpit seats, you lose that headspace. But most of us sort of sleep head tail that way in the aft cabins anyway. And same shelves. So we'll come out of here, and then on the port side you have your separate shower. So you could have this optioned out if you want. It was the same with the other one we just looked at. I'll leave a link for that in the corner, the 44. You could have this optioned out to have another heads in here if you want. I think it's best just to have separate heads, separate showers, but ventilation. There's plenty of space. And then your saloon. So you have a huge U-shaped saloon area. This is quite fun. The chair actually, if you can... Right, for whatever reason I can't move it because I'm a wuss, but this chair actually slides out to give you more seating at the table. They've tried to use every space they can, so obviously under the seating here there is drawers, there is storage underneath here. That's really annoying me, I can't move it. We'll see if we can find some cool B-roll. And then there is storage behind there, behind the settee. Plugs, USB charging. Nicely tucked away, you have your BNG VH radio, fusion stereo, and then switches and digital display to see what's going on with your water tanks, batteries, and so on. Plenty of overhead lockers. So 1, 2, obviously you have the open space there. 4 on this side. Somewhere for your drinks in the table. You can, it's okay, yeah. You can have it optioned so the table drops down. His starboard side, you have an inline galley. There's something I quite like about this, how they've set it up. They've brought it out, one, so that they can fit a really large fridge and freezer in it, but two, it sort of gives you two zones. So you have a cooking zone forward, two gimbaled stove, gas shut off underneath there, and obviously there's storage for pans. This one has been set up with a very cool sort of little freezer, storage underneath. I won't open everything because there are customers on board now. But even with Dufour, unlike some of the other ones, you still have wood or veneered honeycomb for lightness and strength. 4 overhead lockers. There's some nice space in here, and then I will show you, because it juts out. Here you have your access, so we'll see that in a second. So there's your top loading section, and then obviously now I've got the door open, you can see. So there's loads of space, and you know, for milk or other bits and pieces in the door there. So cleverly done. It's a good idea. Hands have been doing something similar for years, but it's nice to see it on a Dufour, and a dual stainless steel sink with hot and cold fresh water, obviously salt water if you want, or if you've had it set up with a water maker, you can actually use this tap for, you know, your bleed off tap. And then up above there is an opening hatch. I do apologise for rushing it, guys. And then access to your bins and waste and so on. If you have any questions, as I said on the other boats, which I'll leave links to those, we'll probably be having a look around this at Cannes, La Rochelle or Southampton again. So if you do have any questions, please put them in the comments below so we can deal with any questions you've got. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button if you're new here, and welcome. And to all our other subscribers that have been with us since the beginning, hi, and thank you very much for everything you do. Okay, owner's cabin. You have a large double semi-island berth. It's been nicely set up. The walls are nicely panelled in some form of material. I don't know the name of it. I should, but I don't. And then you have both starboard and port, 4 overhead opening lockers. Some space forward. Obviously those reading lights have USB chargers on them too, so handy for your mobiles or your iPads. Forward you have a large opening hatch, and that was the one we looked down, so your access to your chain locker and so on is actually behind the bed head there. And then you have 2 opening hatches, and then these are those skylight windows. And if you wish, this boat can, you'll see the line down the middle, it can actually be optioned to have 2 singles either side, but I don't know why you would, but you know, can if you wish. There is some really nice port-like windows, and then the owner's ensuite, which for this size boat, manual flush toilet, but you can have electric if you wish, but it has his separate shower. So for a 41-foot boat, I think that's really, really good. 2 heads, 2 separate showers. You have opening hatch there, and these mirrors are the same size as in the other head, so I won't open them. There's people waiting to come forward. But really, you know, a lot of good space. And then over on the starboard side, obviously you have one behind the door, and then so you have shelves here, and then that one would be hanging locker.